stand for pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so help me out here, because I've never done a budget before. So we are going to make a motion to go to the airport.
Yeah, call one at a time, somebody moves the budget, and that's up for discussion.
Okay, move the airport. First by the legislator, you're second by the legislator. Yeah. He got me started.
The airport is on page 195.
So we did have very minor increases. Gas and fuel, we upped it by $5,000 just for pocket gas. Our revenue is going to go up a little bit. It increased some of the fees for the hangar rentals and stuff like that. Because if you're so also, like I say, increased uniform, clothing, and tools. We upped that $500 contractual expenses. So very, very minor.
Okay, motion to discuss.
We're already here.
We're already there?
Yeah, sorry. I've already read through it. All right. Yeah, anyone else has questions?
Bill's a numbers guy. Can you look good on it? No, I don't have it 196. Should be a number 196. Yes, page 196.
I had the same book I had.
181.
Yeah, you had
The end page.
You have the color. You have the messed up one.
Oh, okay.
You have the wrong.
Trying to bring it in there.
I thought I was using that one.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
Energy recovery.
Page 183. 183, yeah.
Move to discuss. First by legislator Yurden, second by legislator Martino.
The big increase for me is the IRP, our expense line, I upped that $350,000 from $625. We had to go to the floor this year and put that amount in just because of inflation, supply chain issues. The cost of doing business has gone up that much. That's really my big increase. Now, the floor tomorrow will have my fee increases for 24. Those increases will offset that $350,000 and hopefully contribute to our, whatever our salary increases are for the contract.
I still hers.
I don't know if there's any other questions, but that's the biggie.
If I was trying to remember, I believe you did already adjust the revenues based on assuming fees would increase.
I think Veronica did that.
What do you, what do you anticipate the, increases, the offset number?
$350,000 increase here. I'm going to offset that with the increases. And also, I don't know what the contractual increases for the labor force are going to be. I'm hoping to cover some of that as well. But we don't know what that is yet.
Well, I mean, do you have an idea how many stickers are out there right now versus, and the difference between?
We were down a little bit last year. I don't have that exact number in front of me. The sticker prices I'm taking from 185 to 200, and I'm hoping to leave them alone for a few years. If we have to look at fees again in 24 for 25, we'll look at the tipping fees themselves. We did leave things like bags alone. They're not changing. Mattresses are one of the line items. We're going to start charging $15 a mattress, $15 a box spring, which there's going to be some growing pains as a department to track that. And I was talking to my staff about that today. So we're coming up with a plan to phase that in after January 1st. And then for 25, so this time next year, I would like to look at tires. So we'll be talking about tires next year. Because some like this mattress pricing, we're gonna use that to offset the cost of this grinder. I'll pay for the grinder. So that's my plan going forward.
Anybody else?
I know we talked about most of this before. How are the electronics doing? I know that was a thing that changed quite frequently. The reason why I ask is when things seem to change with that, a lot of the towns seem to find more things, turnarounds and the ditches.
When you say electronics, e-waste,
Yeah.
we don't charge for e-waste. People bring it in. Hasn't really been an issue. We've seemingly been getting the normal.
Maybe I'm thinking of something different, that there was something that people were being charged for, and when we increased it, I know it happened at one point when we went to the stickers or whatnot with the refrigerators. We started,
CFCs?
yeah,
Yeah, I left them alone. They're still $15.
okay.
Right, yes.
All right, that could have been what I was thinking about. I know we discussed something.
We
but I know
may-
we had changed it in the past.
We may, or 15 or 10, 15. We may want to look at those, depending on the cost of our,
Disposal.
well, the disposal and the recovery of the Freon. Right now, I think we pay about $7 a unit for the recovery of the Freon. So as long as we're offsetting the cost, I'm good with it. The other potential issue for 25, I had a bad batch of oil, because we take motor oil or oil at all the transfers. I had a batch with a high sulfur content. So right now, this month, I got a bill for about $4,000 for them to take my oil. We can't continue to do that. So we're gonna get through this winter, because we also heat the shop with used oil. But next year, I may be discussing with the committee, if I get another bad batch of oil, we're gonna have to look at something different. But that's a future discussion.
Where's the high sulfur coming from?
Phosphorus.
Phosphorus? I have no idea.
Have no idea.
Doesn't come in motor oil?
We don't know what oils people are dumping in the tanks. I mean, we try to monitor it. But you know, some days you get so many people to transfer and you get 5 or 10 people just dumping stuff in there. Don't know. And then we pump them out, we mix them together. We've got a couple of 2,000 gallon holding tanks in Bristol Hill. So the guy comes in and samples them. Normally there's no charge. We don't have issues. So I got a bad batch this last round.
Is it anything like transformer oil, PCPs and all that crap?
No, he didn't say there was any PCBs. Okay, just phosphorus. So I said, okay, well, I gotta get rid of it because everything was full. So now we went out, pumped all the transfers out again. We've got oil for the winter to heat our shop.
Yep.
But it may be an issue next year that I bring to discuss. I just want to make you aware of it. Not a problem.
That's good enough, you know.
I'd like to go back to what, Legislator Walpole was talking about with the, e-waste, the screens, monitors, TVs, stuff like that. Now, I know at one point they said that we were gonna start getting charged to dispose of those. Is that something that is coming to fruition, or are the companies, because I know that, because there was also discussion that the companies were supposed to come and take them back.
According to New York State law, the companies are supposed to be paying. I don't know how successful they've been. Our e-waste people, I pay very minimal fees. The bills I get are like $7 and $10, a month. So we're not talking any big money here. We'll cover that. Until it becomes an issue, if there is an issue, I'll let you know. Currently there isn't, and I believe in January of 24, New York State's going to try to address this again in their legislative sessions. And actually, we do have a potential other issue tomorrow at the same time, so I couldn't attend in Albany. They're having a meeting on leachate for landfills. We'll see where that's going, but going forward, that could be an issue for us, depending on what the DEC says we have to do. So as soon as I hear something, I will let everybody know that I need to let know this is coming down the pipeline.
Anybody else? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Motion, the budget of highways.
Page 90.
I make a motion, yeah, motion to move.
Second.
didn't expect to have to be coming here today until what, 9 o'clock, so
You can holler at the boss.
wow. That way. I can holler at Kelly for not being
I'm
here.
sorry for our tardiness, and we don't usually run it this way, so.
Oh, that's okay, it's my first time, so how do I know? Right? No, I think that one of the things I know that we did increase was for the, renovations in the buildings, because the buildings are about 30 years old. So, and they need some, little bit of TLC, because they really haven't done maintenance, like, I know, we've been having a lot with overhead doors, having on it covenants, a lot of them have needed to be, right now, some of them are Band-Aid, some of them they really fixed, but there's a couple that were pretty big ones that,
Probably the originals.
I think so, I think they probably were, and it's gonna be pretty good, depending on some of them, but he's trying to get it, so they're really good about fixing them too, and making it work the best that they can until it gets to be where they can get to. That, we're gonna increase the grindings. Usually the grindings have been $125 a load, so this year we're gonna increase them to $200. That's about it.
That's a big chunk. Wow.
A lot of other, because we were discussing when they redid State Route 3 and they did the grind, people weren't batting an eyelash at anything to pay $200 for a load. And that's just, whoever the state contracted to be able to have done that, so. That's about it that I can think of.
Anybody got any questions? No?
I also wanted to note that, like, any of our other departments, they have to buy a lot. They're hit by inflation as well. And also the CHIPS budget, I want to note that there's additional, there's more revenue there, and we've budgeted for an additional $1 million in paving. So, or $500,000 in paving. That's all part of the various CHIPS revenue sources. So let's hope for a long, fair weather paving season next year, so we can get a lot of work done. The snow removal on the towns for the state, page 195, that number has been adjusted for the new contract.
The state did go up.
Yeah, well, if you look at our 22 actuals, we can see pretty light winter.
Right.
I just want to make sure you knew that, particularly the budget for the towns, they have been updated. Other than that, the D and the M fund budgets are fairly in line with what we would expect. A lot of the increases are driven by state retirement increase.
Anybody else? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries. Motion to discuss the budget of facilities, B&G. First by legislator here, second by legislator Walpole.
Page 44.
In our budget, we only had a few changes this year, but one of them was in salaries and wages, which, we're asking for a cleaning supervisor, a nighttime cleaning supervisor, someone to, chase the cleaners around and make sure things are getting done. So I think that's really a necessity. Another one, just in the general fund is, the overtime. We're trying to get 10 more thousand this year, because as I said in one of the committee meetings a while back, that nobody wants comp time anymore. Everybody wants the money. Other than that, electricity, obvious reasons, everything's going up. Can't keep up with it. And gas and heating, same thing. Those are the two big numbers that went up. Other than that, everything is reasonable or close to last year's.
I know that there was a supervisor years ago, and that position ended up being eliminated when they left. They went for a while without it. And I know it proved to be quite a pain. I know there were several issues.
There's daily issues.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, this person would, not only supervise, they would, take care of all the cleaning supplies, be in charge of ordering all the cleaning supplies and make sure they get to the buildings for cleaners. So it would actually free up one of the maintenance guys, or sometimes two of the maintenance guys. You know, which is a lot better. Yeah.
Maintenance guys are ordering stuff now?
One of the maintenance guys, he takes inventory and gets it to the office to get it ordered.
Anybody else? Trouble is, then he's not doing the maintenance.
That's the problem.
Understood. So you all set? That's it.
Okay. I'd put this budget to you.
There you go. Yeah. All in favor? I opposed. And last one, motion to discuss the budget of technology.
Page 60.
By Legislator Martino, second by Legislator Wolf. Yeah, great.
So,
Oh,
there's,
I don't like that. I don't like that. That's why it's not Christmas.
this is, it's on page 61, the biggest increase in the technology budget. This is our repairs and mainly where all of our support agreements, our subscriptions are. The red lines are actually ones we've dropped, so that's cost that's going away. The green ones are costs we're picking up those. So there is some offset in here. This is about a $250,000 increase, so about a $670,000 budget line, something along those lines, going up to 917. This first row in here, this is the annual support for the Johnson Controls video system. We have a 5-year agreement for that, so this is something we're already obligated for. I anticipate, I mentioned, I think in maybe last month or the month before, that there are some cameras we still had some life that we did not update yet, so they're not reflected in the cost of this maintenance. As we work through updating those as well, anticipate that at some point this number will be more like $110,000 a year. So that 5-year agreement will get amended as we move forward. But for next year, I'm looking at about $90,000 for that. So we're obligated there. This second item, this is for a software package, a subscription that we purchased. It is for managing our hardware assets, our software assets, for vulnerability detection, constant scanning on that. It's essentially an attack surface management tool. It's the type of tool we've needed as a department. It's a comprehensive tool. It is a Cadillac tool. It's a couple other counties. Erie County had just started using this. It's expensive. It does a lot. It brings a lot of visibility to the team, a common platform for the team, and efficiency as well. The cost of this is offset by some of the red lines in there where there are savings. One of those lines, this detail line here, that's at $47,000 for next year. This number would have been more like $100,000 for this year. There's actually there were 3 products, 3 tools covered up till this year, where our agreement expired and we dropped 2 of them. One of them we were able to go with a free tool that's available through federal Homeland Security. And the other tool we dropped is one that is now replaced by the antivirus offering the New York State funds called CrowdStrike. That is a premium Cadillac tool, very, very nice offering. So we're actually, I think all counties except one have on board with that. So there's about a $60,000 offset there that's not necessarily reflected because we only had one of the products now. So the cost of this product called Tanium is to a large degree offset. There's probably about a $30,000 net add if we hadn't changed anything else. I mean, it's kind of a numbers game, but it's not a net 100,000 necessarily if nothing else had changed. this next green row, this is to expand our mobile device management. We don't do really what we should with that right now. The subscription we have is really just used for the iPads and DSS, but we need to cover all of our county phones with this tool so we have proper control and we can remotely wipe them if they're lost. We can lock down what apps employees can install. For example, we didn't want employees to play TikTok on their county phones. We can do that. So we need that. We need to increase our licensing, and it's about $10,000 a year to cover it. It'll probably take us a year to roll it out too, because we got to bring the phones back in and wipe them and sort of start from scratch. So it's going to be a lot of grunt work getting that done, which sort of leads up to one of my other items, which is a request for a new position. I need the ability to do more grunt work too. But this next item is $27,000. This is for security email gateway, which I think I talked some about last week at committee. This is required by our cybersecurity insurance carrier. We're in the process of implementing that now. It's a premium tool as well. It's called Proofpoint. There'll be more email communications on that over the next week or so. We're getting that settled in.
It was kind of prematurely rolled out into an email last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a bit of a misfire. Yeah, so somebody might have got a stack of emails. Yeah.
See, I do read my emails.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Oops. Yeah, that was an oops for sure. This item here, this is an existing, this is for our Office 365, which is our email, our Word and Excel, and that whole suite. This year, the cost of that was, and that's a 3-year agreement, and we're, first year of the agreement ends March of next year. So the annual on that was $202,000. You see that going up to $262,000. Some of that I built in extra funds because we have a number of net new positions, a bunch of them at DSS, for example. Every employee we add is about a $200 cost per employee for Office 365. The other piece is there is security-related licensing we had to add. Year one of it, as I mentioned, year one runs out in March, so the prorated cost in year one I was able to cover out of my operational budget based on some of these savings we realized this year, things we didn't renew. Next year, though, the cost of that is like $47,000, so I have a $50,000 add in there. That is, because we adopted it, it becomes part of our 3-year agreement. By doing that, it's sort of obligated us. It gets added to our agreement. But we needed it's for multi-factor authentication. It is for things like enabled what's called trusted IP. So if you sign in your email and you're here inside the county network, you don't get multi-factor authentication. There's a bunch of features it enables. We needed it, and we really don't have a lot of choice on it from a cybersecurity standpoint. So there's a bump there as well. These next 3 items, these are some added hardware support costs. The server stack that we bought for board elections with grant funding, the software that runs on those was also purchased with that grant funding, along with support. I think we bought 3 years of support on it. That's running out. We still need to get supported, so that cost is shifting over to our operational budget. That's the sum total of where that about $250,000 increase is coming on this budget line. Any questions on any of that?
Okay.
Another question would be, and this is probably filling in here together, with all this cybersecurity upgrades that we're making, will that in turn help with our insurance rates on some of the stuff that we would have to insure for that?
And in fact, one of those costs that Greg just talked about is mandatory from the cybersecurity insurance. We have to do that in order to have it.
They indicated there would be some offset in the premium for next year. I have the questionnaire County Attorney's Office just sent over today, that's due for next year's renewal, so we'll find out pretty quick whether we're actually going to realize the savings. And maybe just won't be as much of an increase. Like I mentioned before, the amount that we have to do, the things we have to do from a cybersecurity standpoint, it's crazy. We're so invested in technology and the interoperability with, the state and everybody else. We don't really have any choices, but there's more that needs to be done, I think, at the federal level on it, because it's out of control. It makes me question the sense of even having technology, but we can't not have.
Oh, I do it all the time.
Yeah, when I retire, I'm done.
I like my plan.
Greg, what's the damage bill at Suffolk County so far, do you know?
So, like around 12 million. They were down for about 3 months.
They're going back to paper and pencil from the breach.
Brilliant.
Breach came in through a department that insisted on having its own computer people and not cooperate with the county's regular IT department.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, us over the last several years centralizing everything under one smart move, and that's now best practice, right?
I don't know that everybody's on board with that. I think Suffolk County still has multiple IT departments, whether they brought them all together under their CIO. I'm on the IT task force. It's part of the New York State Association of Counties, and one of the recommendations that's coming from the committee is to consolidate IT under one position, like the CIO or something like that, and get away from this multiple IT department architecture. I think it should be addressed statutorily. In at least one county, they have added it to their charter or their constitution where they have, and they define the role of IT as for being all-encompassing. I know I've said this before, I don't really have an interest in it from an empire building standpoint. It's a necessity. That department that Phil mentioned in Suffolk County that had its own IT, about a year before this happened, one of their deputy directors was hauled up by the FBI. He was running 46-bit mining servers, Bitcoin mining servers in the building. There had been complaints about the power consumption and that the HVAC couldn't keep up. He had servers under the raised floor. He apparently had some of the walls. I'm not sure how that's possible, but it was not an optimal situation for sure.
After hours work, huh?
Yeah, that was dedicated. It sure was.
Yeah.
Okay. Saving electricity from home.
A lot of windmills. You can flush the toilet and the power goes up. Yeah. Because the water pump can't come out. That's right.
Any more questions on this? No. The one other thing I'd say, this titanium product is very expensive. It gives us visibility to all of our workstations. It pulls back vulnerability information. We can patch our operating systems. We can patch third-party software. It has we can manage encryption of mobile devices. Not all of our laptops are encrypted. That's another project that'll take months to get done. Comes back to having another body too, just so we can get hands on these machines and get them encrypted. We've done a ton, but there's just more to do, and it's never ending. And having a tool like this will be a big benefit to us for sure. So if there's not any questions on this pretty big increase on this budget line, the other increase I have is for an additional position, for a computer specialist position, which is kind of an entry-level position, and it's to have another body to get this work done. Also, one of the things that doesn't happen, we're pretty busy. We're busy all the time. I don't know that we're risking burnout with any of the staff. We're busy all the time. There's not really any time for training. For many of these tools we bought, we're still learning them. We need to train back up, so there's leads on these positions. For network administration, for example, I do almost all of that work myself. There's not really anybody that can do that work at the level I do. I need to get somebody trained on that. I've got a couple of individuals in my team that are talking about retiring, and it's going to be a big loss of not only skill, but the institutional knowledge. We don't have to know how to run every department. We have to have a pretty good idea of what they do, what their systems are, and it takes years to learn that, really. So having the right number of bodies, it's more time for training. It helps with my concern about continuity. I remember years ago, when John Booker and I were in a committee meeting, we're asking for money for cybersecurity. I think it was Terry asked, "Are we going to spend all this money, and then in a few years it'll all slip and we'll be right back where we came from?" Probably not. I'm not going to let that happen under my watch. But the continuity piece, a big part of that is having people that know how to do work and are familiar with county operations. So I hate to ask for another position because it'll cost quite a bit with all the benefits, but I truly need it.
Yeah. I'm just curious, you get the senior computer specialist, and that is 0 for the graph. Are you looking to still fill that position?
That position was reclassed to the security specialist position.
Okay.
It was done in the 23 budget, that's why 23 adopted as 0.
Okay, so it just doesn't exist in this one?
Right.
Okay.
Done, Greg?
Yes.
Very good. All in favor? Aye. Vote. Carries. Guess that's it. Appropriate motion? Motion to adjourn. Consider well, I second that. Stated it. Thank you, everybody, for your patience.
At 5.